Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Splintered Spirits. John will be joining us shortly. See what happens today. A lot of people have been having a lot of trouble with our service for live, but I see we have. We'll see. He'll be here in a second. Shall we play a little music? While we wait, welcome, John. You are
There we
live.
go. What's up? What
How are
is
you?
going on?
The good people. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you.
I get a lot of complaints that I'm like not
Not
loud
loud.
enough or something.
Maybe you need to project from the diaphragm. I can give you some vocal lessons. La 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 la
maybe
la.
maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Who knows? You
I
sound
don't
fine
know,
to
dude.
me.
That sounds fine, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know why it sometimes
Yeah.
I couldn't get on Insta today, so we are just on YouTube and Facebook. So welcome everyone.
Well,
Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's always something.
always something.
Uh, all right, we're getting some people coming in as we warm the crowd. As we
That's
warm the
it.
crowd up.
Gotta warm them up. Get them all buttered up.
Oh,
Butter,
buttered up.
butter.
Butter. How you doing,
Hey,
man?
so it's a warm 45 degrees here right now.
Ooh, fancy.
And by midnight, it's going to be 50 degrees.
That is warm for where you're at.
I am very excited.
Yeah.
I finally get to, stretch my legs and go out there. I feel like I've been kept in a cage. A cage I enjoy, though,
Yeah. Are you going to go out tonight?
I am going to go out tonight. I just can't tell the good people where.
No, you can't tell these
I want
people
it to
where.
be a nice surprise.
Plus, it's dangerous. You get crazies. It's like you can't do it.
Can't do it.
You've got to
Yeah,
be John. You've got to take. You got to watch out. You
I
got
do.
the many fans, the crazy fans.
Crazy ones. The crazy ones you got to worry
So,
about.
all right, dude. So we are a week from Christmas. We've had a lot going on, and we have a guest today for the good people.
Yeah.
So, just talking about what's aired and what is airing before we get to our guest who is in the lobby right now. Uh, we just dropped our Beck episode, Beck Ravenswood from Hanover, Pennsylvania, who is fighting the law.
Yep. And rightfully so.
Guys, if you haven't seen that episode or watched it or know the story, check it out. She's a small business owner in Hanover, PA. She owns like a witch shop, a spiritual shop. She gives tarot card readings, and a cop walked in and threatened to arrest her if anybody ever complained for because of an
It's so funny, dude. Like that, it's
for an
not funny for her.
1861 law. It's
It
insane.
it
It's
just shows you
insane.
how backwards things are in
And
many
it's like
many places.
I mean, it's like they've got nothing better to do over there, and they're gonna bust her chops, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Bust their chops. Sorry.
yeah,
They're gonna bust Beck's chops over this,
yeah,
and like I don't know, dude. Find something to do. Leave
yeah,
this person alone.
yeah, for real.
And she decided to take the fight to them. It's like that's not cool, and it's wild. And we're keeping tabs on that story. I think it's the coolest thing ever.
She's gonna be fight.
This
She's gonna
dude,
be fighting that fight for such a long time.
I know. Maybe they'll
Very,
eventually just
yeah,
change the law before it's done, but
yeah. Unless somebody
I don't know.
progressive gets in there, that's like, hey, you know what?
How
Let's
about how
get
about it's
this
not about being progressive? How about just having a little someone with common sense gets in there and saying like, "Give me a break."
common
That's the
sense.
thing too.
Wait, what's common
This is
sense
the
again?
well. Here's what's funny, dude. This is the thing, and I don't want to keep our guests waiting too long, but I do want to touch this subject. Anybody in this profession that is a Wiccan or a witch or gives tarot card readings or psychic mediums has to qualify their work and say for entertainment purposes only. And
Mhm.
they have to do that so they don't get sued by the imbeciles who were like, well, you told me I was going to be this. It's like, they have to protect themselves. It's just because of laws like this. And you know what's really funny? The Catholic Church doesn't have to say for entertainment purposes only. You
No,
know, there's no other
it doesn't.
religion has to say for entertainment
Nope.
purposes only,
Nope.
right? Can't go suing the Vatican for no one's answering my prayers today, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason,
Very true.
right? For some reason,
Yeah.
we've got it like everybody else said they're lying. They're the ones. They're the ones who could are out to take your money for ill-gotten gains, right?
And your soul.
But not the church, John. Not the
No.
church. They're all
No, of
good.
course not.
They're benevolent.
Yeah.
All these evangelists and all these televangelists and these mega churches, they're all like,
Yeah.
they're not for entertainment purposes only.
No, of course
Right?
not.
They're legit.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you about and then Tuesday, before I forget,
Yeah.
I did an interview with demonologist James Anito. So that's kind of a fun one. He's got some great stories about his adventures. But let me get to our guest.
Yes.
Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, we got Marie Jackson joining the podcast. All right. Marie is a paranormal investigator, filmmaker, author, and founder of Ghost Link Productions with more than 100 investigations across haunted homes, historic sites, high activity locations. Marie brings lived experience and emotional truth to everything she creates. She's the creator and host of Paranormal Impact, a platform known for blending real encounters with healing, community, and cultural insight. As an African American woman working in a space that has not always been inclusive, Marie is also reshaping who gets to tell paranormal stories and how these stories are told. And dude, I don't know about you, man, but it's like I can't think of it. I've not found or seen a lot of African American or
No.
people of color in this space. So I'm
No.
very excited to have her on.
No. Well, I mean,
From
there's
two-
there's a lot of things for that. There's a lot of reasons for that.
Well, sure,
So,
right. Well, whatever. It's not for us to say. But for Tubi
No.
documentaries to her upcoming series, Supernatural Sisters, I think that's with her actual family. We'll find out more about it. Her work pushes the genre forward with honesty, representation, and heart. Let us join Marie Jackson to the pod. There's Marie. Are you with us? Hello, you are muted. Let me unmute you.
Is that better?
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having
Thank you
me.
for joining us.
Of course.
Marie, where are you? Where does this podcast find you today?
It finds me in the beautiful Midwest, Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
So Marie, we talked about this a little over email because I'm just very excited to have you on the podcast. Honestly,
Thank you.
John and I are I don't know, these two middle-aged white goombas that are doing this thing in the ghost space, and we want to build this community and find more people that are sort of shaking it up a bit and disruptors of it. And I don't see a lot of people of color, in
Nope.
in the space. I mean, yes, there were of course there are, and I've seen the Ghost Brothers on and all that, but for the most part, it's white dudes in black T-shirts with their arms crossed.
Yeah.
When did you first realize, that, when did you first come across the paranormal? Give me a little backstory. Let's give the good people, tell us your history a little bit.
Well, I first came across the paranormal. This book back here that says 10 Feet Under is actually my book. And it's about my childhood and what we went through being Black family, living in a somewhat suburban area and going through all these paranormal experiences that we could not talk about. And it's here in Kansas City. So that was my first encounter with the paranormal, but we could not speak on it because it was taboo in our community to talk about these things.
In the Black community or just in your neighborhood? Or
just in the Black community. If we spoke anything outside of strength, power, integrity, we were labeled immediately. Labeled having some type of psychotic issues or psychiatric problems, or you're not abiding by your faith and religion the way you need to. So there were so many stigmas surrounding it. And on top of that, my father, the house we lived in, it was me, 6 other siblings, and my mom and dad. My father
You have
was
6
very,
other siblings?
yeah, there's actually 9 of us now, but in that house
What?
during the time, yeah, I got a big family.
All right.
A lot of
And
people.
where do you fall? Wait, where do you fall in the line? So
I'm
where
the
are
middle
you? And
child,
then,
4 older,
uh,
4 younger.
wow,
Spike that in the middle.
you're smack
Yeah.
dead in the middle.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So, having gone through that and then having to internalize all of that stuff as an adult, growing up, still wondering, okay, what the hell happened to us? What did we go through? Was this real, or was this some stuff that we just imagined when we were children and just never actually talked about as an adult? But we were sworn to
Tell me a
secrecy.
story. Tell us a story, Marie. Like what
Yeah.
happened? What was like one of the first thing you experienced?
God. So we moved on up. We moved on the south side of Kansas City, and that was in the 80s. It was back in 88. So I was 4 then. And in this
Okay.
area, we were the only black family in the neighborhood. Everybody else, was white. We were the only black family. So when we moved into this area, my dad had this egotistical mindset, we're in this new town. We're the only black people. We got to keep up a standard. So, moving into this house, day one, we noticed something was wrong with this house. And the personal experiences that I had the day that I moved in, I was playing with some toys, and one of my toys just took off and just levitated in the air. So, me being 4, not really knowing a lot about ghosts and paranormal and things of that nature, I didn't really look into it that heavy. But things just kept happening. So there was 2 days in, my mom's putting groceries away in the kitchen, and then like this, it sounded like a train went through our house. And it was so bad, so loud, so disturbing that my mom and I ran into the kitchen, and all of the dishes and everything was all over the floor. Everything was completely broken. Food was everywhere. Everything was all over the place. So there were several things that just started happening, random things that started happening. So as time went on, my dad tried to dismiss it and put it on us as if we were the ones making all of these really strange moves in the house, because he didn't want to take it. He didn't want to look at it and take it seriously. He wanted to be dismissive of it because he was a real strong-willed guy. He was a
What
manly
did he do
man.
for a living?
My dad was a cab driver, and
Okay.
yeah, he was a cab driver, and he was a hustler, kind of. He went to the
And this
racetrack. He
but
would go
this
to
was
the
all
dog
coming
race.
from this wasn't just you, right? Like
No.
this was also your mom now and your
Yes.
other siblings, correct?
Yeah, my mom, my other siblings, and my father, we all experienced something in that house. But again, we were not allowed to speak on
Right.
it. So
Right.
things kept getting worse. It got so bad to where, if you ever seen the movie Poltergeist,
Of
that
course.
stuff is real. And that's very similar to what we were going through. So imagine not being able to tell anybody that your brother got levitated in the air and tossed across the room, and not being able to speak on it. So we stayed in this house for a couple of years, and my mom was very docile, and she was very submissive to my father's orders, so she never challenged him. She never went against what he said was the way the direction of the home. So one time it got so bad to where the school started contacting us because they thought my parents were beating on us, because we would go to school with scratches and scars. Like, I have a scar right here from when one of the energies levitated me off the bed and tossed me into the wall, and then I hit my head on the Tonka truck. So it started getting so bad to where my mom was like, "We can't stay here. We can't." So we eventually end up leaving the house, and we were told we cannot talk about it with anybody. So we never talked about it. My dad died in 2016. So when he died, I felt like, let me get with my family and see what they think, and see if they remember all of these things that we went through, or if I was just imagining it. So we had a meeting, my mom and my siblings, and we all sat down and we started talking about what we went through, and we all corroborated each other's stories, and then we actually started sharing what happened, and it was so relieving for us to actually talk about it and not feel like we were not able to give breathing room for us to express ourselves and to really talk about what the depths of what we went through. So after that, I was like, I need to find more out about this house. I need to know if anybody else went through this. So I started doing research on the house, and the house is owned by a property management company. So I went back to the home and just kind of started knocking on doors, and I went to the property, met some of the current tenants. And then as I started doing more research on the home, I realized that there was so many people that were going through something very similar to what we went through. So it was relieving to know that what we went through wasn't some crap that we just made up in our mind. It was so relieving that others were able to corroborate. There's so many people that live in that house that is still standing, the original home, ranch style. And we're not talking about a big Victorian house like most people think these haunted houses are. We're talking about a
Sure.
1,000 square foot ranch style home on a slab with no second level, no basement, just a ranch style home with 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. So, and it's so funny because people always get this idea of what haunted is, and I'm like, no, you have no idea. That place was poltergeist haunted. So it was
Right.
it was
There's-
bad.
is
It's
there
still
like-
bad.
Is it now is Poltergeist haunted, below Conjuring haunted, or above Conjuring haunted, or like Shining haunted? Like where?
Well,
What is your? How do
Let
you
me
rank
see.
it?
It's a little below Conjuring. Conjuring was pretty
Okay.
intense, but it's definitely
Okay.
up there. Like when you're seeing your siblings get drug across the floor and you're flying in the air, and you're hearing disembodied voices, and you're getting attacked not only just physically in the presence of at any time of the day. It didn't care what time of the day it was, and then you're also having intense dreams. It's borderline Conjuring / Poltergeist. The movies that we actually watch, very similar to our experiences and some other people that lived in the house. So now, I gotten so crazy about this house. I tried to talk to the property management company because I'm like, I want to buy this house. I want to buy it. I want to preserve it. I want to memorialize it. They will not. They will not.
What is that like though, Marie? Is that like Stockholm syndrome or something? Like what made you want to love to stay in this house, or and then what made you start investigating tons of other locations? When did you make that turn for yourself?
Yeah, and that's so interesting. So in that same area that my old house is on, there was other things I started remembering about some of the neighbors. Like the neighbor that sat right behind us, they had a lot of religious artifacts all over their yard, like in their windows. They would have crosses and praying Marys everywhere. So I went to that house and I just kind of started knocking, and I spoke to, during the time when we lived in our house, the mother lived in that house. So she gave the house to her daughter. So the daughter decided to tell me about everything that she was going through and the stuff that they would report that was happening to them when they were little kids. So she let me come do an investigation in her house. And I was so, oh God, the things that we saw in that home, the dark shadows, the dark energies, faucets and stuff just coming on by themselves. It was so interesting. She told the neighbor on the same block because the other neighbor in that same area was having very similar issues. So I started investigating that block by itself. So when they found out about me, because I had started investigating so many houses in that strip and learning about paranormal, and as I'm going through it, I started doing it in 2016 when I really researched it when my dad died. So I started learning about paranormal and equipment, devices, so I could teach myself how to investigate and inspect these houses. So as the time went on, I'm just doing this because I needed the closure. Somebody on that block is related to somebody that works at the news station. So she reaches out to me and I end up doing an interview, and then I got put on the front cover of Pitch Weekly because of some of the investigations I did on that block. So after I got put on the cover of Pitch Weekly, it was an influx of people that reached out to me in Missouri. They were contacting me, people of my color, my demographic. They were reaching out to me because they're like, oh my God, a black girl? This is good. This is great. I could tell you about my story and I don't have to feel, ashamed or embarrassed or timid to talk about it. So I kind of was the poster child for the black community and the paranormal. So I started doing more investigations. I've done over 200 plus investigations. And when I tell you guys, these investigations are just in people's regular homes, not in these big commercial locations that they post all over the internet, in people's private homes. It got to the point now where I have to pre-screen my investigations, and I'll do preliminary investigations because people hit me up so much. I end up getting on television, and radio stations started reaching out to me. And it was just expanding so far, and all I was just trying to do was give myself closure. I ended up just tapping into an industry that was just not heavily populated with people that look like me. So I felt like at this point, I had an obligation to keep going. I had an obligation to keep doing investigations, to keep relating to people who look like me, and then, continue to bring them closure in their lives. So it just kept going from there, and it's been a really, really interesting journey. To the point where yeah.
No. So Marie, when you're on these investigations and you're
Yeah.
dealing with, so it sounds like you're dealing with predominantly African Americans that are calling you, right? Like, because they
Yes.
don't know who else to call, and they're calling you with their
Yes.
in your area, right? Predominantly in Kansas City. So,
Yeah.
what have you? What can I ask all of our guests this? So, what with all of these investigations, what do you think these hauntings are? What do you think spirits are?
I actually give these energies an identity. I don't call them spirits, I don't call them ghosts. I call them energies because essentially that's just what they are. And I try to stay away from the religious association of describing them because it gets a little blurred. So, when I'm doing my investigations, I classify them as energies from grade level 1 to a level 4, which would be considered, the 4 would be more of a demonic energy. 1 would be more of the grandma ghost. An energy that, is present but not manipulative or possess the essence of wanting to harm you. So, in the area that I lived in, the research that I did, and I can't give you too much of it because I put this information in my second book, in my second memoir. But in the area that I lived in, there is a lot of history in that land and a lot of things that were done ritualistic wise that summoned a lot of these existing energies, these considerable demonic energies to this entire area. And, like I said, people give their own identification based on their religious denomination. They associate it based on, what their faith is. But all in all, it's energy and it's recycled. And they're recycling.
And do you find them to be, what happened here? Sorry. I just got this technical warning. When we go live, sometimes we get a little tech issue.
I should be back.
Okay, he'll be back. So have you found, when we go live, sometimes it gets a little wonky, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Have you found, when you talk about these energies, do you feel that they are emotional imprints or conscious entities, or is it something else entirely?
It's still a compelling research I'm doing on these because there is no definitive explanation for their overall existence. There's so many layers of these energies and the reasoning why and reasoning how they come to be. For example, there's some energies that attach themselves to objects and some that don't. Why is that? Why does this one attach itself to this object and this one is more of a lingering energy that just wants to be acknowledged? I've learned that a lot of energies that have a very strong presence tend to be summoned from rituals and what they would consider demonic rituals, like satanic rituals and things like that when they're being summoned. And then they tend to be a little bit more active because there's a collective compound of energies that are being summoned together. And they're more disturbing than, say, an energy that's more attached to an object. Why they have these attachments, why they have these excessive existence, and why their beings are so disruptive and present, it's still it's a compound of information I'm still researching. There are times
I like that answer. I like that answer that you don't have anything.
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't know, where it's not so definitive. We've talked to many people, and some people are like, "This is what it is."
Yeah,
And it's nice to hear. It's like, man, I don't know what it is.
And that's really the truth. We can't say, oh, this one is here because of this, or just because you died in a house, oh, that's got to be my grandmother because my grandmother died. It's not that case. I did an investigation recently in Oklahoma, and I found that the energies, the husband and wife, the wife's home she lived in with her husband who died in the house, and then the new husband moved into the house, so they were having all these energy disruptions, and she believed it to be her husband. So as I started digging a little bit further and researching a lot more about their home, and the history of the land and just the history of a lot of things that they did, I came to find out that I'm like, there's way more than just one energy here. And this energy, because I can feel the vibrations of the energies, I can tell you if it's a female, potentially, if it's a male. I said, these energies are not just associated with your husband. These are stronger. So then I found out that the new husband was playing with Ouija boards, and the energies were attached to him. So whenever he would come home, the energies kind of erupted a lot stronger because his presence was there. So the wife is associating with her death of her husband, and I'm like, nah, this is deeper than that. This is more than one energy. There's a lot of dark energies and shadows in your house, and that's indicative to multiple energies here. So how they get
Are they hoping that you get rid of these energies?
Oh yeah, I have to remind people, I'm an investigator. I'm not a Ghostbuster. Okay, I'm not going there. I'm not going to your house. I'm not taking one of those bags, and I'm not taking it with me. I'm there to corroborate what you're experiencing, so you don't think you're crazy. So you have a peace of mind and know I am going through something. This is not something of a figment of my imagination. So, but yeah, most of the time they think that I'm going to come and I'm going to do some kind of ritual and I'm going to sage and I'm going to clear it out for you. I'm going to take it with me. No, I'm not here for that. And I have to explain that very thoroughly in the beginning, because that's the impression they're getting.
Do you think, that these paranormal experiences are sort of interpreted or filtered differently because, depending on the culture and
Yes.
depending on your culture? Like, what do they, and do you go in and have to and teach, or how do you explain it? Are they all coming at you like, this is a demon? Or is it very religious and then you're like, it's not at all religious? Or how do you balance that?
Yeah, so one thing that I had to do is try to not give myself a definitive religious association to everything that they might be experiencing. However, I tell everybody, wherever your religious faith is, stand behind that, whatever you believe in. And I had to take it upon myself to research these religions so I can understand potentially what it is that they practice and what it is that they believe in. So I've read so many books. I mean, I'm not into demonology or anything like that, but I've read the books. I read the
What'd you read? What'd you read? What are your go-tos? Who were your teachers?
There's a book, I don't know the name of the author, but it's called The Dictionary of Demons, and it tells you the definitions of specific names and a specific demonic associations, specific ritualistic practices. And it gives me an idea of what that person might be experiencing based on that association. Not all the time is that the case. And then there's another book. I'm bad with authors' names, but I'm great with titles. There's another book called, God, I read so many books. It is called The Teachings of the New Age. I can't remember. I think his name is Robert Ham. And he teaches you about all the different religions, what they believe in, what their ritualistic practices are. And it tells you what you might be walking into when you're dealing with somebody who religiously thinks like this, or what they might be actually practicing in their home or in their lifestyle. So I research and I educate myself before I go into anything. And one of my big things is I got to know your history. I got to know you psychologically. I got to know you as far as from a religious aspect. I got to understand where your mind is, because sometimes the element of the mind and the way that they practice things can be conducive to how strong the energies are in their house. They could either be attaching themselves stronger or just making themselves more present and active, depending on what you guys are doing. Because there's a lot of people who don't realize, okay, these energies exist, but you're either going to make them stronger or they're just going to exist in a weaker version, depending on what you do. There's a family here in Kansas City that would go downstairs in their basement, and they had one of those 6-point stars, and they would do their religious meditative practices, as they called it, but they weren't realizing that they were inviting energies into their orbit and into their aura. and they were becoming stronger and stronger because of this religious thing that they would do. So I try to educate myself before I walk into any interesting situation.
Now, you're you started a production company. You're a storyteller.
Yes.
And you're right. How
Yes.
are you trying to tell the stories of what you're experiencing and of African Americans in the paranormal differently than what we've seen, if at all? How is that? Is there a difference in the way you tell these stories or not?
There's not a difference. The way that I do them is I do it from an organic stance. I have a podcast called Paranormal Impact that I'm developing. So
Okay.
I have people. This is actually my studio. So some people will come here and then they'll sit and we'll do an interview. So what I'll do with them is I say, be organically you. Don't feel like you have to sound scripted. Don't feel like you have to add more layers to what you're experiencing because you think about what people are going to say or how they're going to respond to you. Just be yourself. If you talk with a lisp or you talk slang, I want you to be 100% you because this is going to be a relatable moment for somebody else. So I get them to be organically themselves. And then that gives them, one, the comfort level they need to share their story, but also the ability for other people like them to share their story as well and not feel like they have to put on this face to do that. So, but the storylines and the way that people share their stories, I use the same strategic, just a strategic interview setup. I don't I don't alter it one way or the other because you're black or you're white. I just interview you and let you be who you are and share what you've been through.
Do you feel like you've hit any walls or barriers being an African American woman in this
Yes,
space? Or
I did. I have.
really?
I
No
have,
kidding.
and there's still things that I'm filtering through, just even having gotten as far as I have. I had to deal with the ridicule and the judgment from my African American community. And everybody outside, all my counterparts were very supportive and they're very intrigued and interested in this thing that I'm this investigative journey. But the black people were so hard to get through to. So I had to be labeled. I was labeled. I was scrutinized. I was judged, and that was the biggest attack on my career with the investigation is the judgment from people that I was trying to get engaged and make them feel as if what I'm dealing with. I don't have to be afraid to talk about it anymore. So as I've gone through the journey of it during investigations, it's still intriguing to a lot of people because one, I'm considered a very beautiful black woman, which I think I am. And they
For
don't
sure.
thank you. They don't see me in that industry, let
I would
alone.
just go, first of all, you're just a beautiful woman.
Thank
Number one.
Well, Gary, what she's going through is what I see in my comment section all the time on social media. White people shit,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah,
literally. That oh,
yes.
he's doing white people shit. So I can only imagine what
Yes,
I maybe in a little bit I'd love to hear a little bit about that if you're open to talk about it because that's
I'm open.
open. Love it.
Yeah, they would always say, "Oh, you doing that white people shit."
Shit, yeah, white people shit.
Yeah,
That yeah,
that's
yeah.
black people don't do that.
Hmm.
You are. Do you believe in God? That's one thing that I've always been told. You don't believe in God, girl. You into this satanic stuff. You must be into voodoo. You must be into witchery. And I'm like, no. I'm just a regular person that happens to be black that has had experiences that I decided I wanted to share with the world. And I'm not associated with any type of demonic ritualistic practice just because I decided to look at things differently than other people in my community. It has been so hard. And now I've been getting a lot more support from black people. But because now it's like, I'm not going to change the optics in who I am to appease your insecurities. I'm not changing it. And I felt like at one point I had to dumb down my investigative research to make people feel comfortable for my demographic. And I said, you know what? No. Because the only way that things are going to change is if you acknowledge that they need to change and you can be consistent in that change. So I just stayed consistent. But I've had more ridicule from black people than any other race. Now, when it comes to proving myself. I feel like I have to work 10 times harder to prove myself. One, because I'm a Black female and this is not a dominated industry by Black people. So I have to work twice as hard to make myself visible because, it's predominantly dominated by Caucasian white men. And, now the Caucasian women are starting to become more visible, which I'm happy about that because this was predominantly a male dominated field. And then now we're starting to see a lot more color that's coming to the surface.
Oh yeah.
Like
you
the ghost
usually only
story.
see like a team of 4 dudes and like
Yeah.
one chick.
Yeah.
And then there's like, and we found one, we highlighted a group, not far from you, John, that Full Moon Paranormal, where it was like a team of 4 women,
Yep.
that were involved. But yeah, you're right. I mean, even women just in general, they're usually one on a team.
And I have to say this too. Take away everything that we were just talking about. You are one of the very few people that are still going into people's homes. Because
Yes.
in this field now, it's all these outdoor locations, or as you put it, these monster, these famously haunted big establishments. That's all you ever see. So that's awesome too, by the way.
Yeah. And I had to, because I said this, we had a basic, regular ranch style house. How many of these people are going into these average looking houses and investigating them? They're not doing it.
They're not.
They're
They're
not.
not.
They're going into commercial locations, locations that are so well known and predominantly commercialized. They're
Yep.
not going into these houses where people are really having these issues. So
Mhm.
I've gone into barbershops, beauty shops, schools, radio station, television station. We got Fox News here in Kansas City. I went and did an investigation in the boiler room downstairs in there. I'm going into places people don't typically frequent.
Yeah.
I have an investigation coming up at a recording studio where they go record music. They reached out to me and they're like, "We got some stuff going on." Yes, I will be there.
Awesome.
That's fun.
Because these things are just not, they don't typically investigate these things. And this is a reality. We are going through something that is a lot stronger than what people are willing to admit. And it's not always in this prepackaged image.
Yeah.
And these people are dealing with these things. I investigated people's personal apartments. There was a whole floor in an apartment complex that I investigated here in Kansas City. And they were, having paranormal energy disturbances. So there's no limit to where I'm.
Bagan's got to get you on his house calls show. For when they're in that part of the country, for sure.
Right. Oh my God,
So-
that'd be so interesting.
Right. Marie, so you touched on this a little bit, but your books. So you wrote 2 books,
Yeah.
10 Feet Under and 10 Feet Above, which are personal, right? They explore trauma and spiritual awakening.
Yes.
How do you feel that those types of things are connected to paranormal sensitivity, if at all?
I think that when a person has a certain level of trauma or a certain level of exposures in their life, it can raise the energy levels and the attachments to these energies, or it just depends. I tell people, be as strong as you can in your mind, because the stronger you are, the more stronger you are against whatever it is you're trying to face. But if you have this weak vessel and you have the weak mindset, you become a vessel that's easy to penetrate. So I say it's mind over matter. It's all mind over matter.
It's all
Mind
about
over-
that intent.
Yeah, it really is. Because there's a family that was dealing with some things, and I'm like, they're not going anywhere. So you guys are gonna have to strengthen your mind and how you want to deal with them, and have some kind of relatability to them, because they're not leaving this house. They were here before you came. So it's up to you if you decide you want to stay here, and these are the conditions that you're going to stay in. So the traumas and the experiences, and then a person's life exposures definitely have some type of influence on how strong these energies are in their life.
Got it. John, do you have a fan on?
No.
Window? I hear a fan. I don't know.
I have no fans, no. It is silence here.
I think
No.
I'm downstairs in my basement, so you might be hearing like the
Is that you?
heat is on. Is it very, very
Oh, okay.
loud?
Got it.
No,
Okay,
it's not.
I'll take care of it in post.
Okay.
Even though we're live, when I re-drop it, I'll fix it.
Okay, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I
No,
can't-
no,
all
it's
good.
all right. It's all right. I
It's
just want
really
to know where
cold
it's
in
coming
here.
from. It'll help me.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm gonna blame John first. You say, look what you got to
I like how you did that. I like how you did that.
You know, I'm gonna go to him first. Have you seen investigations where, that have become moments of healing at all for these people, or
Yes.
either for the living or for the spirits? I know you said you're not a Ghostbuster, but has it ever just happened by you being there helping them, and then they have called you back and said, I don't know what you did, but
Yeah.
it's, that peace of mind sort of
the
healed
peace-
it for them
It's
or
the
something.
peace of mind. It's the peace of mind in knowing that they're not alone in what they're experiencing that people want. Sometimes they just want to know that somebody cares enough about what they're experiencing, and that what they're experiencing, whether they can change it or not, they're not living in a state of living in that state of mind by themselves. So when these people, like one investigation I had, it was a young lady I went to school with, and I went to her house. I documented the conditions and the findings, and you know, she called me back. She was like, I just want to tell you, I don't know what you did, but I'm able to live here with them, and I'm not as afraid as I used to be. And like I said, mind over matter. You have to be stronger than what it is, especially if you want to stay here. They're not going anywhere. So, and I said, whatever it is you believe in, use it. If you like to sage your house and you feel like that's going to be something that can calm them, I said, it might calm them. It's not going to get rid of them. Just remember that. So if you want to calm these energies, and this is how you typically handle things from a religious standpoint, then live heavily in your faith. Live heavily in that, and then build a bridge to these energies, because some of the energies, like I said, I consider energy 1 through 2 more of a grandma style energy, which is what she was dealing with. Sometimes they just want to exist. Sometimes these energies may have existed in a form very similar to ours. They just want to be acknowledged. So if you go downstairs in your house and these energies are there, and you're like, hey y'all, I'm coming down here just to let you know, don't do anything too weird, talk to them. Just state your dominance over them. So that way you're not living in this mindset of fear, and then maybe they're able to relate to you in a different energy capacity.
Wow. Let me tell you something. It's just awesome to have you on, and awesome hearing this, perspective. And have
On
you
my
ever
back.
have you ever came across any spirits that obviously, said something about your appearance? Because for example, I mean, first off, I've dealt with tons of racist spirits, and it's the worst when you're live, because they straight up they can get me banned, right? So that's the worst for me anyway, because then my stuff gets banned. But they call me and they talk about my weight. They call me fat all the time. I deal with a bunch of stuff. Uh, or just being a woman in general. I hear a lot of women in this field say that sometimes they feel almost like the spirit's going after them because they are a woman.
Yeah. That's funny. No, I have never been had a spirit attack my physicality. But that's pretty funny that you mentioned
Yeah.
that.
It is pretty funny, by the way. It's
So,
It is funny when they do it to me. It really is.
so I did an investigation with one of the Ghost Brothers, Dalen Spratt. He's one of the Ghost Brothers. And we did an investigation at the Sally House. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that location. It's in Addison,
Yep.
Kansas. And
Not
we
bad.
were there, and apparently the history of this house is that the energies are very, very delicate with women, but they hate men. So men would have scratches on them. Women
Okay.
would just be, just let the women pass, and women are okay. Guys, they got some type of physical scratch or something. So me and Dalen are in this investigation. So I'm telling them the history, because I've investigated this place like 5 or 6 times. And I'm telling them the history, and I'm telling them to be careful, because these energies might physically attack you. And then he's like, they're not going to attack you. And I'm like, they haven't so far. And I think it's because I'm a woman. They might like women. So he ended up getting like these scratches all the way down his back, like very big scratches all the way down his back when we did our investigation.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but no, personally, I haven't had anyone, any energy come to me and, attack my physicality. I think they're so attracted to my aura, though. I think they're really, really attracted to the presence of me. Not even just because I'm black or a cute woman. Just I have a very,
You,
yeah, just me. You know, just me. Just my
as in
delicate.
as in a blind spirit would be like, oh, she's incredible.
Like I love this. She's just so
Yes, yes,
inviting. My
yes.
aura is just so empathic. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, I haven't had that situation before.
Unfortunately, I have. But then again, where I'm at, I mean, I've got so much racially fueled stuff, and so much like where I'm at in general about appearance and about how much money you have and all that. Like it's a one of those types of areas. So, what was your? Well, do you get scared at all when you're out here doing this?
I have gotten scared.
Okay. So then, what would be your oh shit moment? Like like
Yeah, there's been several investigations that I've turned down,
oh,
um, because I do the history. I research any place before I go into it, and I've researched the depth. Now, anybody that's going through something, I require them to send me something to substantiate their experiences. So there was one place, this big gigantic house in Independence, Missouri, and I walked up to the front door and my neck started burning. I hadn't even made it all the way in the house. So one of the things that I heard that they did, the energies would do, is physically assault you, scratch you, touch you. And I got to the front door, I hadn't even made it inside the house, and I had 3 welts all across, and it went all the way down. It was burning so bad. I can only imagine if I had walked inside that house, what they would have done to me. So
wow.
there's some investigations I've turned down because of the severity of what they were experiencing. And, sometimes those energies can assault you and attach themselves to you. So I was like, no, I can't do this. There was another investigation I turned down. It was actually I completed a partial amount of the investigation only because I felt like they were really dealing with something. And it was in South Carolina at a house that was owned by William McCorkle as a Confederate soldier. And this house, I go to the front foyer. I'm talking to the homeowners, and this blue inferno of fire runs from the floor straight through the ceiling. So I'm like, okay, what the fudge was that? And then they're like, we go through this all the time. This is something that happens so much. So like I said, when those poltergeist movies, Conjuring movies, people
Yeah.
really going through that stuff. But
Oh
they're
yeah. Oh definitely. Oh
they're
yeah.
But yeah, I did a partial investigation. I couldn't go through with the whole thing because it was just way too heavy energy there. So sometimes I have to decide what's worth it and what's not. Um, I've gone into investigation, set up equipment by myself if I think the location doesn't require a big team. But most of the time, I have people that go with me, so I'm not alone. Set my equipment.
Have you ever come across an investigation that like that made you sit back and go, "Wow, this is what I was going through. This is like it almost mirrors like what was happening to me and my family."
Yes, I've come across several of those
Oh,
several
awesome.
investigations.
Okay.
Um, it was a location in San Antonio, in Texas, and what they were feeling, and they were a black family, and what they were experiencing because they found my profile. They were looking for black paranormal investigators because they wanted somebody black. Then they found me, so I drove down there, and what they were going through was very similar to what my family went through. And me sharing that with them and also doing the investigation, it just brought them peace of mind. But it was so interesting because, you have the father who's very strong willed, just kind of like, whatever, it's not happening, or I don't want to believe it's happening. And then you have this mother that's so docile, and these children, and they had some young children, like 4, and they were so little and they were going through things. And it was such a peaceful moment for me to be able to talk to them and just say, hey, you guys are not alone. I've gone through this. What you're experiencing is something that is common, and you don't have to be afraid to face it. like the husband was so nonchalant. And I'm like, my dad was like that. You don't have to be afraid to taking the reality of what you're dealing with. This is normal. It's a different kind of normal, but it's normal. And that's another thing. Just getting people to understand that energies around us are normal. Strange is normal. We are taught to believe that there are
It's not.
certain ways of life. Yeah, we're taught that anything outside of the order of life is puts you in a category of psychotic episodes or
Very true.
Right.
Very true.
and it's like if you turn on that other sense in your mind, because we have so many different sensories that we're not told to use and we've been trained to go against. If you activate these other sensories in your mind, you will be able to see energies a lot stronger or even have, telepathic communications with these energies. But we're trained to not believe that these are other sensories we can use to build a bridge to what is actually normal.
Marie, tell me about Supernatural Sisters and what you're starting there.
So again, I appreciate you guys reaching out because this is a taboo thing when it comes to Black women being in the industry. So I found 3 other Black women, and one is more in the Gothic style, one is more of a medium, and then one is another investigator. So I found them, and we all had a meeting, and I was like, listen, we don't see us on these shows. We don't see these Black women in the forefront of these paranormal investigations. There's so many shows out there, but you don't see Black women. So I said, what do you guys think if we do something different? If I brought you ladies together, since we all recognize each other, and tried to do paranormal investigations as a unit and use all of our strengths. So I came up with the idea of Supernatural Sisters, SISTAS, because there is a sisters, but it's 2 white women that operate that. But you don't see a Black show with Black women.
Sure.
So
Right.
they agreed, and we had a meeting about it. And so we're going to start rolling out doing investigations the beginning of the year all over the place. Everywhere.
That's amazing. I thought for sure. I thought when I read it at first, it was like because I know you had a big family. Like it was actually you got your family involved.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no.
My 3 sisters were supposed to be a part of it, but they're not experienced in doing investigations, and they're a little
Gotcha.
timid with being exposed. Now, the other 3 ladies that I found, I said they're in the industry of paranormal research. They're actively investigating. So I want to connect with people who are actively doing it. So my sisters, they're believers. We all went through our experiences, but they weren't strong enough to want to be on the front screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when is that going to start?
That is going to start in April of this 2026. We're going to start
That's
doing
amazing.
our first investigation. So we're going to have a team of people, and the way that we're going to do it is going to be more of a confessional style. You ever seen those? They go to the confessional and they're like, "I'm not going up here. Nope, not doing it." No, it's going to have a little bit of comedy, but it's also going to have the reality of what people are going through. We're going to go to well-known locations.
Right. That's awesome. Okay. Keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. We're going to go to well-known locations that people are familiar with, but we're also going to go tap into my world, and we're going to go to regular people's houses in regular locations.
And what do you hope the audience, especially women and girls of color, take away from it?
Oh,
If they
I hope
watch
you
it.
look at us as unique superheroes. Unique, like, like
Super, yeah.
unique paranormal Black female superheroes that are courageous and confident and not afraid to live in their truth, and that are okay with tapping into an element where they may be judged, but they're strong enough to deal with the judgment and keep going. That's what I really hope to get from that.
Marie, if someone listening feels called to investigate the paranormal but does not see themselves represented, what would you tell them?
And when you say represented,
Like
what
if
do you
they're,
mean?
whether they're, I don't see a lot of Asian faces out there either, right? Like, what would you
No.
tell somebody who went through what you went through when you started this? What would be your advice to them that they don't feel represented to get out there and disrupt what is, this sort of the perception of this genre and this
Yeah.
space?
I would tell them it's scary, because you're tapping into something that, you know, you may or may not be accepted in. But do not turn your back on yourself and your truth. And if you feel like you want to express what you've been going through and you want to share your story, share it. And don't worry about people's perception of you, because you can get caught up in that and you get stranded there. So take that version of your truth and share it with the world. And even if you don't do it on the platform that is going to expand beyond just, you know, the normal surface area, you may not be a bit, you know, you may not go into investigations, but you might want to share your story and write a book about it. Or, you know, you might want to write some movie scripts about it, or maybe some short films to tell your story in a different capacity. You may not be going into houses and doing investigations, but you may be able to share the elements of what you've been through in a different way. So there's so many ways to tell a story. So tell your story in the way that you're most confident with, in the way that you're most comfortable with, and just don't turn your back on yourself.
It's great advice.
Thank you.
Marie, tell everybody where they can find you.
Oh, so Ghostlink TV. I have a website coming up where I'll be posting a lot of my content. Is ghostlinkproductions.com. And you can find me on Instagram at Spiritual Gatekeeper, Paranormal Impact, or Ghostlink TV. Same for Facebook, Ghostlink TV. Same for Snapchat, Ghostlink TV. Just search Ghostlink TV and I pop up.
Ghostlink TV or
Yes.
Spiritual Gatekeeper. Those are the two
On
sides.
Instagram.
Two sides.
Yes.
You got 2 books out. They can find those on Amazon. And we're gonna put all this in the link in our bio in my link tree. That'll be up there by tomorrow. Marie Jackson, everybody. Listen, I can't thank you enough for doing it. It's really great. You're wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, you know, everything, you know, just the, you know, your experiences and all of it. It was awesome to hear.
Yeah, it's really great. And I'm sorry my Wi-Fi goes out. This is what happens live for some reason.
Oh, okay.
It'll all flow
It's like I
in
can-
post. You'll get it all
Oh yeah,
flow
well,
in
in
post.
post. I'll fix it in post.
You know, in post.
The magic of
Yeah.
editing. It'll
The
be
magic of the
Nice.
internet.
Oh
The
yeah,
AI.
it'll sound genius.
Well, listen, if you
It'll
ever,
be
if you ever find yourself in New York, let's do a collab, because I think that would be awesome. I could take some cool, not well known places.
Yes.
So,
yes. Not well
Yeah,
known.
that's my thing too. That's my thing too. I go to these not well known places and just document.
Yes.
You know, so
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
All
Those
right,
are
we're
the
gonna say
two
goodbye
areas.
to you. Just leave your browser open until it says upload complete. Once we say
Okay.
goodbye, and then when it's done, you are free to go about your day. You can go about your day anyway. I'm kidding, but just leave your computer open until it says that. I thank you so much. This was really wonderful.
thank
Of
you.
course. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys. Take care.
Pleasure to meet you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, she's fun, man.
Oh, yeah, she's awesome.
I love finding people like that.
Yeah, dude. And you can, you know, it just the way it's great when we get a guest that everything she is talking about, I can relate to my documentation.
As a black
'Cause,
woman,
you know,
as a young black woman, you can relate.
I said, well, not even, because listen, data is data, and data doesn't give a fuck what color you are, you know what
No,
I
I know,
mean,
I'm kidding.
or your gender. So it's great. It's great. I could have listened to her speak for a whole nother hour on
I know.
when
Well,
she started
we'll
getting
have her
into
back
her
on after
investing.
her show.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
get
yeah,
her back on,
definitely.
I bet, after her show airs, and we'll talk about, it's like see if anything's changed with her, just her perspective on things and
Yeah.
what she's learned. Because what I really liked is I like the fact that she's learning and she admits it. She
Yeah.
admits that she's learning about
About
what these spirits are and what that
Mhm.
data represents and all that stuff. It's kind of
Yep.
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's true.
Really cool.
It's
I mean,
true.
it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the part of this whole podcast that I'm enjoying quite a bit is finding these people from all over the country that I never would have spoken to ever.
No, not yet, ever.
And I mean, it's funny how it's about ghosts that bonds, that connects people, in a
The
weird
community
way.
of it,
And in a fun way too. And it's really
Yeah,
interesting. I
yeah,
hope,
yeah.
let's see,
Certain
guys,
bridges anyway.
when we have, yeah, man, for sure. When we have a guest, We don't really get into the chat, but I don't know, guys. What'd you think? What'd you think of Marie Jackson?
I'll be able to see this chat soon, my friends. Soon.
Let's see if anybody. Let's see. Let me scroll back up. A lot of people like her. She's very pretty.
Yeah.
Guys, she's more than just looks. Don't objectify her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, come on. What do you have to say? Let's see. She has the right idea. She still wants to live. Yeah, look. I mean, they're all. A lot of our chats, like, they all know each other. So they're all saying, they all talk to each other. It's like a real, like, oh, hey, man. Like, we're all like, it's like almost like they're at some house party or some shit, which is kind of, which is nice. Darcy, if you didn't catch your follow tags, I will put those in the
Ghostling TV across
Ghostling
everything,
TV.
she said.
And
Ghostling TV.
and Spiritual Gatekeeper. And those are going to be in. I'm going to have those posted up in the link tree in my bio within the hour or so. So don't worry about it. If you follow Splintered Spirits, if you're watching this on Santa Paranormal on YouTube, be sure to give us a like, share, and follow over on Splintered Spirits. Be sure to follow us wherever podcasts are available. She's great. Love her. She's interesting. She doesn't blow smoke up your ass. These are all the comments that are coming in.
Yeah.
She's very pretty. Yep. Yeah, man. That doesn't hurt either. I got to tell you. I
Yeah,
like having guests that are easy on the eyes.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's very smart. She's very self-aware, like in terms of, you know, she's passionate about this, man. I guess if you grow up like getting thrown in the air, I guess if you grow up getting thrown in the air by ghosts, bro, I guess you have no choice.
But listen,
you have two choices.
listen.
You can either fall into a hole, or you can go out and start like investigating, maybe make a buck out of it, you know, and try to make a career out of it.
Listen, I started saying this in the beginning of the stream. You know, I have an idea of what she goes through, you know, for being a person of color and being in the paranormal world, just from the amount of shit that is posted on my videos and comments saying that I'm doing white people shit. Oh, he's doing white people shit. It is one of the most common things that are said. One of the most common things. So I can only imagine what she's dealt with over the years, getting into the paranormal. I can only imagine.
I mean, from you know, from her own neighborhood, you know, in her own community, which is a bummer. But
Yeah,
look, you know, she doesn't seem to get.
It's awesome. Her family supportive of it, though. That's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, she's got that rock,
she has somebody. Yeah, she has somebody around her that can hold her up. You know what I mean? Because that gets rough. Man, that was great.
Well, it's a great episode. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Splintered Spirits live on a Thursday. So again, this week we had Law and Aura, the Beck Ravenwood episode, The Witch Who Fights Back. On Tuesday, James Anito, the demonologist, our first demonologist. I want to get some more demonologists in here. It's a really interesting world because it's just everybody just thinks it's a demon, you know. And I'd love to get, as we paint this tapestry of what spirits are, figuring out what that looks like, and you know, from different angles, even on that side of things, you know, that religious side of things. And we're taking Christmas off. There will not be a live on Christmas, or maybe there will be. I don't know. I haven't decided.
We don't know.
I don't know if Santa's going to deliver a little gift for the people. I don't know it.
It might happen.
You know, it might happen. We got a lot more fun stuff coming in the new year, guys. So be sure to like, share, and follow. Like, share, and subscribe. You don't want to miss the stuff that's coming up. And John, happy Thursday.
Hey,
Robin,
happy
you're
Thursday.
the best. Robin Brewer, thanks. I never miss an episode. Why can't you all be more like Robin?
Yeah, be like Robin.
Guys, be like Robin. Never misses an episode.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can't. Not especially with all the guests we're getting on and all the different angles.
She's on the nice list, dude. Robin's on the nice list. You know, she might be on the naughty.
Well, no, it's there's two lists. There's two naughty lists. You know, there's the one where you get spanked and the one you don't get spanked on. So depending on what you like is what you get.
Don't cancel us. Don't cancel us.
Yeah, don't cancel us.
Don't
Yeah,
cancel us
spanky
for it.
spankies.
No. It's like yes, yeah, but be like Robin.
Yeah, be like
Never
Robin.
miss an episode. It's a good. It's a
Yep.
good. You know, it's gonna get you through life.
Yeah, it
Um,
will.
For
Ugh.
entertainment purposes only. Much
Yeah,
like
for entertainment purposes only, for real. That's it. That's all.
you know? Dude, it's
Just
like
a
we should
just a
put that in
dash
the
of
front
entertainment.
we should put that sign and we should make signs and put them in front of every church.
It is Christmas time. Put it right underneath the manger. You know.
You know who's upset about this right now? Your grandmother.
Oh, I know. I know.
You're gonna hear
I
about this
know.
one.
Sorry, Grandma. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Your son might not be, but I am.
For entertainment purposes only.
I'm a little sorry.
Ah, so great. All right, John.
So fun.
Time to
All right.
split. Everybody, thank you
Uncle
so
Gary,
much.
Everybody
All right,
watching.
man. Have a safe night tonight. I know it's warm and you're out and about. Be safe.
That's it.
Stay curious. And we will see you
Always.
next time. Bye, everybody.
Later.